The local economy is battling structural challenges such as the electricity supply constraints and logistics inefficiencies that are hindering business activity and dampening investor confidence. Brand SA says this situation is not unique to South Africa. Following the war in Ukraine, Europe also experienced an energy crisis. The organization says with 2024 being an election year in South Africa, investors also want to know what to expect on the political front.
They've been asking about the energy crisis. What are we doing about it? But they also understand that it's a situation, or rather a challenge that is not peculiar to South Africa, as I've said, because as we've seen the implication coming from the Russia and Ukraine perspective. So thus far, the question that has really come up has been around logistics, has been around energy. As for the rest of the economy, and another one is that as we go towards the election year, what do we envisage from a political perspective? There's that, there are many other countries like your US, I think India as well, they're all going for elections, and investors are looking to see the volatility of these economies.
Exxaro, a player in the mining sector, says 2024 holds a promise of a better economic performance, which can happen if structural reforms are implemented and there is policy certainty.
We also expect, as I said, Eskom will really move. We've seen they've got a new CEO, so we expect stability, and then the legislation that follows, we're expecting that to come. From a Transnet perspective, it's the same thing, is really to see movement from government from a policy point of view, protecting investments that we want to make, making sure that the concessions that we've talked about with government on the rail, making sure that as the private sector, we participate meaningfully in the investments in rail, because we know the state, is really choking at the moment from a financial perspective. And we need to take responsibility. We need to take responsibility, though, that is not risky to our investors.
Climate change, characterized by the extreme weather patterns, has also been a topic of interest.
We certainly borne the impact of bigger claims on, particularly from the flooding. So if you think back a couple of years ago where we had the floods in KZN, so the two biggest weather risks that impact us are the flooding and the hail. So hail damage and flood damage are the two big ones. And all we've seen is an increase in claims in the year where the weather's been really bad. And the question we're starting to have to ask ourselves is, is that a cyclical thing, which is normal, or are you starting to say, well, actually you have to increase prices because it's just going to cost more through the cycle? And then, but the world is thinking about this, and the reinsurers that we share the risk with, that we take on, are also all thinking about this. So there's a lot of very technical work going on around forecasting the impact of weather systems and what that's going to do to claim severity in the future.
Investors have also been concerned about the geopolitical uncertainty globally that is threatening supply chains. Gloria Sefako, SABC News, Johannesburg.